Well, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has lambasted the European Union for slapping a $140 million fine on social media platform X.
Today's episode is loaded because Europe is not just going through political changes, it's facing a wave of technological regulation, economic shifts, climate debates, internal disagreements, and global tensions. And the last few days have delivered one headline after another, each more explosive than the previous. So sit tight. This video might just open your eyes to how dramatically Europe's future is being shaped at this very moment. If you love sharp updates, deep insights, and honest breakdowns on Europe's political storm, make sure you subscribe to EU Politics and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a single update. Let's continue our deep dive. The EU's latest fight with big tech has sparked conversations across the globe. After launching an antitrust probe into Meta for allegedly blocking AI-powered competitors on WhatsApp, the message from Brussels is loud and clear. Tech giants must play by EU rules or face serious consequences. But this isn't only about competition, it's about Europe trying to build digital sovereignty. The EU wants to make sure artificial intelligence, consumer data, and digital markets are not dominated by a handful of American or Chinese companies. This is becoming a matter of strategic independence. The investigation also signals something else. The EU's tech regulators are no longer satisfied with reacting to problems. They are moving proactively, shaping the digital economy before the rules get outdated. That's something even the US struggles to do. Whether you support these tight restrictions or not, one thing is undeniable. Europe is trying to become the world's referee for all things digital. And speaking of digital clashes, the €120 million fine on X has turned into a political earthquake. Elon Musk calling for the EU to be abolished shocked some viewers, but it also reflected a bigger ideological battle. Should governments regulate online speech, or should platforms be free to decide what is allowed? The EU argues that transparency and user safety must come first, that misinformation, hate speech, and opaque algorithms can damage democracy. Critics, however, say Europe is overreaching, controlling tech companies too tightly and potentially limiting speech. This debate won't end anytime soon. In fact, experts say this fine might just be the first of many as the Digital Services Act continues to evolve. But Europe isn't only battling tech. The CBAM expansion might be one of the most ambitious environmental and economic shifts in modern history. By putting carbon taxes on imported products like washing machines, garden tools, and steel parts, the EU is effectively exporting its climate rules to the world. This means manufacturers in countries like China, Turkey, India, and even the US will have to clean up their supply chains or pay more. Some critics warn this could increase consumer prices, fuel trade tensions, or trigger retaliation. But supporters argue it's the only way for Europe to reach climate neutrality without killing its own industries. If European companies spend billions cutting emissions, shouldn't foreign producers face the same standards? The logic is strong, but implementation will be messy. Expect global disputes, negotiations, and a lot of political drama. Now let's talk about one of the most sensitive issues in today's EU politics: the funding plan for Ukraine. Using profits from frozen Russian assets is an innovative idea, but also a risky one. Countries like Germany and the Netherlands fear that if Russia never pays reparations, the EU could be stuck covering the bill for decades. On the other hand, nations like Poland, the Baltics, and the Nordics insist Europe must show strong leadership, especially at a time when the US is re-evaluating its foreign commitments. This internal disagreement reflects something deeper. The EU wants to be a geopolitical power, but its member states still carry different historical traumas, alliances, and security fears. For example, Eastern Europe, much closer to Russia geographically, believes any hesitation will be seen as weakness. Western Europe, more economically cautious, wants long-term guarantees before signing big financial promises. The end result? Policies that are bold, but often complicated. Strong in vision, but delicate in execution. That is the EU's greatest challenge today, balancing ambition with unity. And unity is being tested again in the climate and industrial sector. The push from Italy, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, and others to allow hybrid cars and biofuels shows the complexities of transitioning to a green future. For countries with large automotive industries, a sudden shift to 100% electric vehicles by 2035 could threaten millions of jobs. They argue technological neutrality is crucial. Let the market decide which clean technologies win. Their message is simple: Innovation must be flexible, not forced. But nations like Germany, France, and Denmark believe that without a firm deadline, industries will delay change indefinitely. This division reflects two different visions of the future, one prioritizing economic survival, the other prioritizing environmental leadership. So, what's next for the European Union? The coming year is likely to be a battleground of competing interests. Big tech regulation will intensify. Climate rules will expand, maybe even spark new protests. The war in Ukraine will force Europe to rethink defense, energy, and foreign policy. And internal political shifts from rising populist parties to disagreements over migration will continue to reshape the EU's identity. Through all of this, one thing is clear. Europe is not standing still. It is transforming, redefining its position in the world and setting standards that other nations may be forced to follow. Whether you agree with Brussels or not, the EU has become impossible to ignore. If you found this deep dive helpful, make sure you subscribe to EU Politics for more detailed analysis, breaking news, and smart commentary on everything happening across the European Union. Your support helps the channel grow, and together we'll keep exploring the stories shaping tomorrow's Europe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video right here on EU Politics. As we continue exploring the fast-changing landscape of EU politics, it's impossible to ignore one more rising force shaping Europe's future: the growing influence of public opinion. Across the continent, citizens are becoming more vocal, more politically aware, and more eager to participate in shaping big decisions. From farmers protesting climate regulations to digital rights activists challenging surveillance laws, people are making it clear that Europe's direction cannot be decided only by politicians in Brussels. It must reflect the voices of everyday Europeans. Take, for example, the rapid growth of youth-led movements demanding transparency in AI development and data usage. While older generations often worry about job security and social stability, the younger population is increasingly focused on ethical technology, environmental justice, and inclusive governance. This generational divide is pushing the EU to rethink how laws are written, how public consultations are conducted, and how democratic accountability can be improved in a digital age. Another important angle is migration, a topic that consistently resurfaces in European politics. Southern countries like Italy, Greece, and Spain continue to feel the pressure of irregular arrivals, while northern nations debate how much responsibility they should share. The EU's newly proposed migration and asylum reforms aim to distribute responsibilities more fairly, but the political negotiations around them remain tense. Some countries argue for humanitarian approaches, while others demand stronger border control. This constant tug-of-war is shaping one of the most emotional and divisive debates inside the Union. Meanwhile, Europe's economic backbone, small and medium-sized enterprises, is also demanding attention. Many business owners worry about rising energy prices, compliance costs from new EU regulations, and competition from low-cost, non-EU manufacturers. To address this, the European Commission is considering new incentives, simplified reporting rules, and faster access to innovation funds. Whether these measures will be enough to maintain Europe's economic competitiveness is a question experts continue to debate. But beyond all these issues, one thing stands out clearly. Europe is entering a new era where political stability can no longer be taken for granted. The rise of populist leaders, economic uncertainty, geopolitical tension, and long-term climate challenges mean the EU must constantly adapt. Some say this is Europe's greatest test since its founding. Others believe it is an opportunity, a chance to reinvent itself and emerge stronger. What's certain is that these next few years will shape the continent for decades to come. Decisions on technology will influence the future of digital freedom. Decisions on climate will determine environmental survival. Decisions on migration will shape cultural identity. And decisions on foreign policy will either strengthen or weaken Europe's global role. That's why it has never been more important to stay informed, engaged, and aware of what's happening in EU politics. And that's exactly why this channel exists. To bring you clear, sharp, insightful breakdowns of everything unfolding across Europe. So if you're passionate about Europe's future or simply want to understand how today's political decisions will impact tomorrow, don't forget to subscribe to EU Politics and stay connected with every major update. Your engagement helps this channel grow and motivates us to keep delivering content that truly matters.